Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Boring Enterprise Nerds podcast episode. I'm Jelena and as always, with me, my partner Paul Moderman. And today we're going to talk about a variety of buzzy and hot and exciting subjects in the SAP world. So we are missing a guest today. It's just Paul, Paul, and myself will be entertaining you and enlightening
Oh,
you.
you
So
know what this
for
is like?
yeah,
Have you ever seen the TMZ videos where it's
hmm
just a bunch of those like gossip reporters standing
yeah,
around
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about stuff? That's what
yeah,
this is right here.
yeah,
TMZ
yeah.
for SAP
Yeah, so
community
there is that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there is that high energy guy who's like, okay, what do we have today? I have like Angelina Jolie coming out of McDonald's. So, so it is exactly like that, folks. So buckle up. We will gonna deep dive into the dungeons of hush hush SAP conversations, and we're just gonna, aka Reddit, SAP
Yeah, I was
sub
gonna
on
say
Reddit.
it's only hush hush if you're not on Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's totally hush hush, but also totally public conversations. So the first subject that I kind of picked up on, there is still just tons of confusion about upskilling and learning, and you can see this is specifically from ABAP
Yeah.
sub on Reddit. There are two of them. There is
Mm,
SAP one and there is ABAP one.
mm.
So this is where I frequently see questions from developers who either are working on the CC like this person here, or they are kind of, well, I'm kind of need to look for another job, or I'm looking to expand, and they're like, well, what do I do now? And to be honest, on one hand, I am confused why why are they not finding this information online? Because SAP has their own learning website, there are
Yeah.
tons of videos out there, but at the same time, I can kind of understand how people can be confused because sometimes just there is avalanche of content and you look at all of it and you're like, well, I don't know what's good.
There is, because there is like, so I can like empathize with both sides of this
Yeah.
equation here, because I can remember when I started out doing stuff, I was already like a so-so competent, like just general purpose
Mm,
programmer for other stuff. And then I started doing SAP stuff. And for the first, I don't know how long, it was like every time I got a new, like, okay, Paul, your job is now to do this. I would have a day, a week, a month of like, wait, what the hell is this?
yeah.
Right? Like it was like in that moment, in that time, it was completely like it was like one of those video games where the map is all fog, and
Mm,
then you have to walk somewhere, and
yeah.
all of a sudden there's a monster under the fog, and you didn't even know there was like monsters in this world. And then you walk over here and there's like a city under the fog, and you didn't know there were cities in this world.
Yeah.
So like I see that, but I also see like there's a lot of voices online that want to guide you to this stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's sort of surprising, like I don't know how else to say this. It's sort of surprising that people ask this question still these days,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's funny that you brought up that kind of fog of war situation. Because to me is I also started a long time ago, 20, almost 20 years ago, and
Mm,
at that time situation was different. It wasn't so like you mentioned, it wasn't like, oh, I want to learn about this and I go and find content and learn because there was no content
mm,
to be
yeah.
found at all in SAP
Yeah.
world. So it was like I would go to SAP community and I would simply see, okay, what is something that someone has written about? And there were so few blog posts at that point
Yeah.
that you would just say, okay, well, let me see what's posted on ABAP. And then you would just learn that. And that is, I wouldn't say one way or another is more effective, but we definitely had different challenges. And now it's more like a Middle Eastern bazaar where everyone is just kind of tagging you, and trying
Yeah.
to sell you something or push something. And people are just they're like, Jesus Christ, would someone just tell me what to do for Christ's sake?
It's well, it's kind of like the difference, because I started about 5 years after you did, and there was probably more stuff, but it was still kind of hard to learn some things. And it's kind of like the difference between dying of thirst in the desert
Yeah.
and drowning.
Yeah.
Because in both cases, you just need one thing, and
Yeah.
either you need just like a drink of water or you just need like one breath of air. And
Mm.
in both cases, you just need that thing to grab onto, right?
Yeah.
But this person, assuming this person is probably feeling, if they're not just posting on Reddit and then like shutting their laptop and going outside or whatever, like I'm assuming it seems like this person may have done some kind of a search and just been like, where do I start with all this stuff?
Yeah.
Versus back when it was like you could be presented with something new and there would be, like you said, legitimately no information about it
Yes.
whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Impossible
exactly.
to do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, when people ask these questions, like you said, it's very likely they search for something. So why don't
Hmm.
you tell us, give us some context to your
Yeah.
question? Why
Yeah.
don't you tell us, for example, oh, I searched for this and that, and let's say I'm confused specifically about that? Because honestly, folks, if anyone is going out there and either searching for this information or asking similar questions, it's much easier to help someone when you understand where they're coming from or what
Mm.
is specific issue, because otherwise you just get very generic replies. Well, learn like ABAP prep. I mean,
Yeah.
like no kind of no shit Sherlock
Okay.
information.
Yeah.
But then again, what else am I supposed to tell you? Because you didn't offer us any background. Did you
Yeah.
just like wake up this morning and like, gee whiz, let me go and post on Reddit, ask a question out of nowhere? I doubt that how it happens. But then for some reason, again I'm just unable to understand this. Why would you post this and would not say I searched like here and there? And every time people would say, well, why don't you just search for it? And oh, I did. Oh, gee, thanks. Those for telling us. It's such a
Yeah.
bizarre situation. So, but
Let me
yeah.
let me say one more thing because I
Hmm.
think I said this and I think I said something like this in our Skillpocalypse or one of our presentations we
Yeah.
did, which was that like if you are feeling paralyzed by choices or like you don't know where to go, the the trick is, or maybe the mental place you should go is, if you can't predict the future, and none of us can,
Mm.
the only right answer to which thing should I do is don't waste your time trying to decide based on like trying to predict the future. Just pick something.
Yeah.
Like it will like skilling up compounds on itself. So
Yeah.
even if you pick the wrong thing, no matter that, I don't think there even is a wrong thing to pick,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like it doesn't matter what you pick, just pick
Yeah.
and do that thing for a week, a month, whatever it is, and then pick again. You can't predict the future, but the best thing you can do is pick something.
Yeah, yeah, because otherwise it's just paralysis
You're
by
just you're
analysis, and
just
you're just
nothing.
sitting
Yeah.
there, you know, waiting for people ready to explain to you. So yeah, good
Yeah.
point. So we have done our our part in educating kind of general public, or trying to help people, sharing
Mm,
possibilities with them. What
mm,
can they
mm.
upskill on? So we have done this video when was it? It was a while ago. Yeah, so it was over a year ago. And in this video, which we will have link for, but it's on our it's on our channel. We talked about you talked about front end kind of exploration,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I talked more about ABAP and back end exploration. So since it was a year ago and it's a long time in technology, Paul, do you feel like something has changed since then? Or would you maybe add something to this, or maybe, I don't know, have some kind of extra bonus guidance to this video, or does it still kind of stand on its own still?
I feel like it's still I feel like it still stands. And I think if you were to look at the date of that and the date of now,
Yeah,
um, you'd be like, oh, well, the obvious thing that's changed in technology
yeah.
is the continued advance of like AI stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except even if you're good, like let's just say you're good at like writing good prompts and like getting good results out of an AI,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to have developed the taste and the skill to to know where to shine the light of what you need.
Yeah.
And knowing that and developing that skill is the same as it's always been, which is you have to work harder than you think
Mm.
to make that skill go. In other words, like I'm sure there are students out there, probably many students out there right now who use ChatGPT to like produce their college papers or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And on the one hand, I'm like, you know what? I was in college once. Fine, whatever. Just graduate if you, I don't know, whatever. On the other hand, if you do that, the only result that I'm sure about is that you did not advance yourself at all when you did
Yeah.
that, right? If you just said, write me a paper on the Habsburg War or whatever, pick a subject I don't even know anything about, right? And just bleh, and ChatGPT vomits it out and you hand it in, you get a B plus or something like that, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you got your B plus, but you essentially failed yourself by
Mm.
doing that. And the only way around that is to force yourself to not use those things, to learn the things, and then those things can become the tools that enhance you as you go through that stuff, rather than the crutch that some problem is going to kick the crutch out from under you, and you will
Yeah.
have nothing to land on when you do that. If you're nothing but a vibe coder, you miss the bus a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that stuff isn't useful. I think it's very, very useful. But the skill still comes from here. The skill still comes from you. And the skill apocalypse stuff that we talked about is still the way to get that skill.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
probably not very hot take on all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that architectural model that we talked about in that
Mm,
episode, it has been valid probably since like ancient Greece times, and
yeah.
it's still going to be valid probably for centuries to come,
Yeah.
because you cannot just build something grand without a good foundation. That's
Yep.
just not how it works. So working on your foundation and, like you said, actually understanding what you're doing and what is happening, it's, I think, the most important skill of them all. And we were just chatting before recording. I do perform interviews sometimes with ABAP
Mm,
developers for various
yeah.
reasons, not necessarily to hire them to work kind of with me together. But what I have been noticing, where most of them go bad, is not because people don't know how to, well, like what ABAP prep actually is, or because they don't know this or that technology or something, or they lack some technical skills, but because they lack communication skills. And ironically, if you cannot communicate your expertise, you could be the bestest expert of them all. But if you cannot describe that, it's useless, because
Yeah.
that's what interview is. And second kind of shortcoming that many people experience is they just cannot really explain. They have done something, but it becomes very clear they do not really understand what they're doing. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I see it a lot in, let's say, SAP tutorials that they provide. It's like, oh, do step this, step this, step this, step this, and people are like, okay, 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 I've done it, yeah, but do you understand what you have just done? Do you actually, can
I
you like
mean,
explain it to
the
someone else right now? Or do you
the
like,
the
yeah,
best support for what you just said is all those posts that have do this screenshot, do this screenshot,
yeah,
do this screenshot. I guarantee the first comment is going to be, I did it, but it didn't work. Please
yeah,
help.
yeah,
Right? Like
exactly.
that's gonna be the comment.
Yeah,
And sorry, bro, click step one, click step two, click step three. That won't get you to digging yourself out of the hole,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, some riveting stuff. So all right, so switching just tangentially, second great subject that comes up kind of a lot online lately, everywhere on LinkedIn as well. It's essentially, is AI going to take our jobs once again? And I have one example. This is asking about developers. So person asking about, well, if I have like ABAP, UI5 skills, will this AI tools gonna make developers completely obsolete? And second example is It's about consultants. So consultants, functional
Mm,
consultants are also kind of afraid.
mm.
And you can see there are tons of comments here. So 62, very, very heated interaction. So Paul, I'm sure I'm sure as our in-house AI expert, you have a few words to say about this. What do you think?
Let me talk about the developer one first. This person is, what do you think about the future overall HANA, like list of acronyms, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Developers with SAP AI tools. Will it make developers completely obsolete? So I think until such time, and I don't know when it will happen, maybe it will never happen. I don't know. Maybe it will happen. Until such time as an AI is literally just as smart as humans in every single way that humans are smart, then we will need developers of some kind
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And and I think it's because, like, especially in the SAP world, if you go around, I don't think there's any shop, whether consulting or working in the industry, embedded inside the customer, where you could come into work and your boss would say, sorry, there's nothing to do today, you can go home, right?
Yeah.
There's always stuff to do, and there's always too much to do. And not only that, let's just say, because I think some people genuinely are more productive when they use AI tools, for sure.
Mm,
Some people aren't, that's fine. I don't, that's whatever. But I think some people are somewhat more productive than their past self, not in comparison to others, but their comparison to their past self, if they use AI tools in a smart way.
mm,
But what that means is, like, I think let's just say there's a magical world where the AI tools make you 5 times more productive just across the board. Let's just imagine that that's the case. I think that lowering the cost and effort of producing the things that the business asks for will lead to the business asking for more things
mm.
rather than the business asking for fewer
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
right? Because especially, I mean, especially in the SAP world, it's like I've been through one of my companies, one of the companies I work with, I've been analyzing some old SAP stuff, and there was this giant, like, just giant set of ABAP programs. It was like, I think it might be the most complex set of custom development I've ever seen in my life,
Mm,
and because it was dozens of custom programs and dozens of custom tables, all all doing like one major thing. And I'm sure there's more stuff out there like that, but this is probably for me one of the most complex ones. And like the thought I kept having was, and this has existed for 15, 20 years for this customer, was like, this must have cost 10 plus million dollars
yeah.
over the years to make this thing go the way it goes right
Mm,
now, right? It must have cost at least that much to find yourself in the place where your business process is different enough from SAP, but you still need to use SAP, that you need
mm,
this gigantic monolith thing. And if it's the case that AI could help you do this same thing, but like 20% faster, 30% faster, whatever it might be, like the business is just going to ask for more of those things.
yeah,
I just don't think that developers are over. I
yeah,
do think you have to, like, you can't be static. You
yeah,
cannot be static,
yeah.
but it's not done. It's not
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. And I've honestly, I've been through many of those. Oh, developers will soon be obsolete moments. Even starting from, I started with mainframe consulting, but at the time it was already late 90s. So the first Microsoft that Visual Studio already existed and graphical interfaces already existed and Windows applications. But in mainframe, there was no graphical interface at all. Every screen it was like manually programmed. So when
Mm, mm.
when IT managers first saw those nice, buttons and drag and drop and all that type of very simple interface, they're like, oh, this is cool tool. So we're gonna need like fewer developers, but exactly opposite happened. Like you said, it was not fewer developers, it's actually more developers, because when you
Mhm,
see
mhm.
possibilities, you start asking for more stuff to be done. So business needs are not going to shrink. And that's a
No.
great point that I think goes like whoosh, like over everyone just blabbing about how AI is going to replace us all. But you said, so do you have any additional points about SAP
Oh, yeah.
consultant
So
side of it?
as a consultant side,
Yeah.
So this one is actually kind of interesting because like I definitely think there is a class of SAP consultant, which is like the person is just a thin layer over the top of
Yeah.
Google, right? And that I think if you're basing your life on being the high priest of like Google
Yeah.
to find the thing that you don't actually know about, but you somehow sold yourself as a consultant to this company to do whatever,
Yeah.
okay, then maybe you should be scared. But if you're legit using this consulting role as like this business has issues, problems, whatever, and I'm gonna apply my experience, knowledge, whatever to find the thing, then it's fine. And especially this particular one is kind of funny because I read this, I read the
Mm.
title and I think of AI, but obviously this person is kind of going down the path of like, could SAP reach a point where its products are so user-friendly and straightforward to implement
Yeah.
that the world comes like
I
I
I
read that question and I'm like, are you kidding
yeah.
me? Because like, once you pop the hood, you could go and look at like what SAP UI5 and Fiori have done over the last 10 years to how people kind of interact with SAP systems, at least from a user interface standpoint,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even or even like doing configuration. But as soon as you need to like understand what's happening or like make it go,
Mm.
all of the birthday decorations fall to the ground. And it's
Yeah.
your crappy house still,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if the question is SAP going to become so user friendly that you're going to become obsolete? If that ever happened, I think we would have achieved AGI
Yeah.
because only a super intelligence could make SAP so user friendly that it becomes
Yeah.
obsolete for consultants to help
Yeah.
people with it.
Yeah. Honestly, I read that and had that typical like John Stewart, carving moment.
Yeah.
Like, geez, yeah, like that's gonna happen. Not in our lifetime for sure. So whoever
Yeah.
ambitious avocado 7, I think your job is safe for a
Yeah.
couple of
Maintain your
decades at least.
maintain your ambitions, avocado. You're gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
Awesome. All right. So okay. So switching to the next, also AI related subject. So this is very interesting post. I want to really dig in more into this. And if anyone is curious, we will have links to this post as well. So I actually posted answer from myself because we do have account on Reddit where either Paul or I may respond, and we sign our post so you know who it is.
It's
Um,
it's almost always Jelena, but I have done
so
it sometimes.
So this is post from a student. So not an SAP professional. Student is writing final thesis about how SAP integrates AI in financial management project planning. So this person has a survey and he was asking people to kind of chime in on this. And what I immediately pointed out to them, because the way they were asking, it seemed like there are actually two questions about SAP's own AI solutions, like AI in SAP, and how AI being used in SAP. That would be different from SAP's own solutions. So, like
Yeah.
whatever like SAP Business AI or whatever they come up, it's one thing. But there are also some. I bet there are some AI product or kind of AI themed product uses within SAP environment that have nothing to do with like SAP Joule or anything like that. So
Yeah.
Paul, as our in-house AI expert, I'm sure you have some additional thoughts on this.
Yeah, because I've been doing workshops and I've been working in consulting engagements as like the AI guy for a little while now.
Mm,
And the difference between AI in SAP and using AI with SAP sort of couldn't be more different from each other.
mm,
Because like if you think about the okay, AI in SAP, then if you Google it at all, you're going to find yourself like wrapped around the business AI term, right?
mm-hmm,
And so if you go look at the stuff that SAP is offering or talking about in the business AI realm, and then you go dig into like what actually is going on with the various things. And this is not a critique of SAP because this is like it's just like you will discover every corner of what the term AI could possibly mean
yeah,
in these like solutions, right?
yeah,
There's like it is so wildly different between the like sub items that are on offer under the business AI umbrella term
Yeah.
that I think I posted about this. Like it's I think it's only really a marketing blanket term
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
where it just means like automation that feels cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what business AI means, I think, in SAP realm. The other side of it is that AI being used in conjunction with SAP is like now you can go and think about like every like new like announcement of this or that new feature in Gemini or ChatGPT or Anthropic Claude or whatever can be applied to a scenario that helps you do something SAP wise.
Hmm.
But that's not the same thing as like a deeply buried little feature inside SAP that
Yeah.
does that. In
Yeah.
that case, you have to kind of get good at like, okay, what do I need to pull out to have the AI help me think about with this stuff?
Hmm.
But also, given that I can do that with like any number of tools in the world, can like yank things out of SAP or just like examine little pieces. It's also like the world is your oyster in
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? Like if you can dream it, you can do it in the AI being used with SAP realm.
Yeah.
And that's also broad, but I find it broad in a good way.
So I also pointed out to that article that you wrote about SAP Business AI, where you pointed out that's like, well, it is a collection of like eclectic pieces. So that was a good
Yeah.
point. But yeah, please, if you want to continue, add something to this, please go ahead.
So in these workshops that we have been doing through our esteemed common employer mindset,
Mm-hmm.
there is a little bit of a theme that emerges from the people who show up and kind of want to know more. Couple themes. One is that for many of those folks, through no fault of their own, but for many of those folks, if you say the term AI, you might as well say like gobbledygook. You might as well say
Mm.
blah, blah, blah. For some people, for if you haven't had the chance to like dig in and like unpack all the various terms, it's kind of meaningless to you because
Mm.
sometimes people will write down things they want to dream about or that they want to do, and it's like there's nothing wrong with this, but like you'll see some folks write these things down and I'm like, oh, you poor person. You could already have had this 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
This is not
Yeah.
even AI. This is
Yeah.
just you need this thing automated. And
Mm.
you already know all of the rules to automate it. That's not even AI, my friend.
Yeah.
That's just programming. If you even need it to be programmed,
Yeah.
right? So there's that angle. But then there's also the angle of like because AI is such a fuzzy term in all this stuff, people tend to have a couple other perspectives and reactions too. They'll come in and they'll be like, I want to learn about AI in finance. And in my head, I always think that's great. That's great. But like, unless you have a problem that you're thinking about tackling, what are you even aiming for?
Yeah.
The other one is because AI is such a fuzzy term for many, many people through no fault of their own. The problem is the hype, is that other times they'll write down their hopes and dreams for whatever. And I'm like, and I'll read that and I'll go, oh my God, there's no way this could happen. Like this is so like you clearly don't have a good understanding through no fault of your own. You don't have a good understanding of what's possible right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying like AI can solve my supply chain problems, but like,
Yeah.
what does that mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think the hype cycle is failing everybody
Yeah.
in this stuff
Yeah.
because because I like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm just ranting.
No, that's
Like
okay. Mm.
like I spend a lot of my free time, a lot, air quotes, a lot of my free time just like reading about AI stuff and experimenting and trying things. I often think to myself, how in the world would somebody who doesn't spend that time have any clue what's going on?
Yeah.
Because it's changing so fast. It's mysterious and new even to the people making the stuff. It's mysterious and new. How could you? how could anybody who didn't like dedicate their time or career to it get competent at it? I feel like it's just an impossible river to swim through.
Yeah.
I think it's just moving too fast for humans to keep up, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Anyway,
I feel
that's
like,
rant
yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, there have been some bursts of hype over my long career, but I don't
Hmm.
think anything compared in magnitude to the whole this AI business. But
Hmm. Hmm.
sometimes I think it's okay to just sit one out for a while
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
maybe see where it ends, because this whole like blockchain is a great example that went nowhere. Although in that case, to be honest, when the hype cycle started, I already had huge number of doubts. I don't
Mhm.
feel the
Yeah.
same way about AI hype, but there is definitely lots of it. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's just yeah, if you don't dedicate huge amount of time, and everyone is busy with their works, family, whatever else is going on in
Yeah.
your life. I mean, we already spend like so much
Yeah.
at our work, and we everyone is saying, oh, you need to be healthy, you need to exercise daily, and you need to learn AI somehow. I mean, when we need to sleep as well, it's
Yeah.
just all the stuff is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if anyone is there just kind of, oh my gosh, it's just hyperventilating, I'm gonna become obsolete. Just maybe chill, chill for a sec.
Mhm.
Just take a mental health
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
and those are, like you said, most importantly, just take time to think about your goals. And that, I
Yeah.
think, covers all the subjects that we talked about so far.
Yeah.
Like for upskilling, if you have no specific goal in mind, then it doesn't matter what you do. You just go like anywhere, like in Alice in Wonderland. Just
Hmm.
go. You will arrive somewhere. Who cares? Or like with this one, yeah, I mean, go and do something or do nothing. Just wait for a while, because we will. I
Yeah.
think dust is going to settle in a bit somewhere,
Yeah.
and we will have at least more clarity what is happening. And if someone is thinking like, oh, I need to be one of the first and like jump early on this hype train, but you're already too late. So no, no reason to
Train
kind of
left, my friend.
worry
Yeah.
about that. Train has left already. So just honestly don't be so worried about this, that it affects your health and mental well-being. So I and okay, so I think we have enough time for just one quick one. Paul,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you wanna do that additional one about the partners? I thought
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's a very
Yeah.
controversial subject, so I also wanted to touch on this at least a little bit. So to preface this, both Paul and I now work for the same company, Mindset, which is also SAP partner. So it is a little bit kind of sensitive for us to talk about this, but I do think if we kind of leave our work personas aside, as a community, as a whole community of partners and customers and freelancers, I think it is important to talk about the subject. And also 2 years ago at ASAC Tech Connect, Paul and I had a presentation about working with partners, and it wasn't recorded because it was just a conference session. But I'm curious if anyone would be kind of interested in us doing repeat of that session or
Yeah.
additional episode just about this. Just let us know in the comments. So Paul, this is about finding quality partners, and this person is complaining that their implementation partner has been terrible to work with, and they are, first of all, they're looking for some kind of process to find better partners, but they are kind of also looking, oh, can we kind of switch the partners right now so that someone else takes over this terrible partner and just finish and help us with post go live. Of course, conversation doesn't really go as this person expected, because no one
Uh,
really is eager to jump and complete someone else's project. And I really love this as a top comment. It says
yeah.
when 80% of an SAP project is reported as complete, 80% more is remaining to be done.
Oh, that's so true. Oh my
Got a
God.
good chuckle out of it.
Oh my God.
Um, so Paul, what are your thoughts on this kind of SAP partner engagement business?
I feel like there's like so many of those old adages about all business is personal and all this kind of stuff like that out in the
Yeah.
universe, I feel like there's something to be said. And this is like, once again, our common employer mindset is not paying us
Yeah.
right now to talk about this. But there's something to be said for like truly developing long-term like
Yeah.
relationships with people and companies and partners. So part of this question reads to me like that relationship building has failed in some way
Yeah.
between this customer and this partner, right? Because put yourself in the shoes of the partner for a second. If your customer says, "Hey, I want to kick you out and get somebody else to do the rest of this and do the post-go live support," I mean, that partner, that company has no incentive to knowledge transfer,
Yeah.
has no incentive
Yeah.
to like bridge the gap for you. Well, you just told them, I hate you when we're gonna break up, but can you stay in our house for a few more weeks
Yeah. And clean
and
up.
like do the
Yeah.
dishes and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You will like all like so because this is true for everywhere. Like there's like cream of the crop and then there's like garbage in terms of like the level of talent or people that are they're doing stuff,
Mm.
right? As soon as you tell the partner this, the cream of the crop is gone.
Yeah.
Anybody who was doing anything okay-ish, even if it wasn't great, they are gone. They're off to
Yeah.
another project or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is a dangerous thing. I don't like my gut reaction is that like this is just super dangerous because I can also see just like I say this about everything, but like I can see the other side too
Mm.
in some sense of like sometimes you do have to find another partner and
Yeah.
and do things. But like at the 80% mark of your S4 implementation, man, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
maybe just suck it up. And
Yeah.
honestly, if I were, I again, this person haven't shared more background. We
Hmm.
have no idea the scope of the size even of their
Hmm.
project, what's happening there exactly. And honestly, maybe if you talk to that partner, maybe they had a few words to say about this guy. Then
Yeah.
so who
Yeah.
knows? Honestly, there's always two sides of those stories. If truly there is only 20% left, honestly, it's not a good time to switch partners right now. Probably you might want to bring someone like a second opinion at least and help you to bridge this gap and help with post go live. And
Mhm.
but just make this not like immediate breakup, but more like a transition because
Yeah.
yeah, otherwise,
Yeah.
honestly, your project is just gonna
It's gonna
prepare
explode.
to yeah
It's
prepare
yeah.
to ruin your project completely. So yeah, not a good time at 80% completion. And another point which I just vaguely remember we touched upon in our session that we did at the conference was for the customer side, it's important to also understand what exactly are they looking for, because I think some customers, they legitimately looking for partnership. They are looking to
Yeah.
develop relationship with someone and then work with them and then be kind of in two-side partnership with honest effort. But some customers, and they might think that they actually want partnership at that point, but they're more looking for like, let's just we're just looking for help. We need
Yeah.
someone to do work for us. And
Hmm.
if you're in this situation, you cannot expect some kind of relationship building. Like you do not, it's like in human relationship, you do not invest much in the relationship with someone that you don't know. You just met randomly, you know you're not gonna meet them probably, or maybe not, or maybe you will. So, but you just don't care really at this
Yeah.
point. It's never gonna be the same situation for both sides.
Yeah.
And both sides is also, I think, what is frequently forgotten here. And again, it's to me it says this is probably more like I need help situation. I'm hiring servants, not partners, because otherwise I would be looking if we were in a legitimate relationship and partnership, like what went wrong on both of our sides. Is really only one side responsible for this? And the problem, I think, if you continue to not explore, like to not do like lessons learned and to not explore what went wrong and why, you will just continue having bad relationships with an ex-partner.
Yeah.
It's like in life, like if you're a jerk, I mean, you can keep changing boyfriends, girlfriends, and just blaming them, but at some point, like, buddy,
It's like, yeah,
it's
the
like
if
it's like, yeah.
everyone is an asshole, you are the
Yeah,
asshole. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So very interesting subject. Again,
Yeah.
if anyone out there is interested in Paul and I to having a chat, I don't know, having some kind of
Would
inspirational
love to
speech,
talk more.
yeah,
Yeah.
with you, or have something recorded, or if you want to
Yeah.
join us and have like a podcast and just have more
Yeah.
in-depth conversation, we would be totally
Be
open
great.
because yeah,
Yeah.
we've already started conversation. So now the question just, do we need to continue or not?
Hmm.
Awesome. So I think it was great conversation. Lots of very hot subjects. Any closing remarks from you, Paul?
So my only closing remark is this, is that um next time we do this, we have to lead off with the AI snark. Because I had an AI do the research for me, and I told the AI to write really snarky stuff about what it found,
Mm.
and it was pretty good. So like next time we do this, we should lead with the AI snark, and that will just like fuel our fire even better. But
Awesome.
apart from that, yeah, but I just really hope people do reach out to us and want to talk to us because I would love to talk to more people about this stuff. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So like, subscribe, read our
Mhm.
newsletter,
Yeah.
watch our other videos, and follow us even on Reddit. So that's
Bye,
yeah, that's it for today. And thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
guys.